Everybody, my name is Dark Guardsman and welcome back to another dev video. Now I'm a little sleep deprived and I got a bit of a cold, so this is definitely going to be more of a rant and ramble than it is going to be coherent thought. I apologize for that. I try to make these as intelligent sounding as possible, but that's not always the easiest thing to do, especially when I'm critiquing something and not just talking about my own work, as I got a little lack of experience piled on top of that I'm going to be trying to explain UI and UX while at the same time only having a few years of experience of that. For those who don't know who I am, as I said, my name is Dark Guardsman. I've been making mods for 7 years. I've produced a little bit of everything. I've produced well over a few hundred mods in my career so far as a mod developer. Some of the mods you may recognize are the single blocks mod series, things like wooden shears, wooden buckets, wooden rails. These are the small little mods I make, and these are the ones that are sadly the most downloaded mods I make. But I've also developed mods like ICBM, Modular Force Field System, Resonant Induction, Resonant Engine, Volts Engine. I've worked on large mod packs such as volts, amps, ohms. I used to be the head developer for Universal Electricity Team before it collapsed, so I've worked on things like Mechanism. I've helped out with quite a few different mods and everything else. It's not as important as my mod experience is not going to really contribute towards the idea of whether or not I know what I'm talking about. But I have spent the last 3 years working as a freelance software engineer, primarily focused on Java. And that experience, as well as my experience as a mod developer, I've interacted with a lot of users. I've basically looked at a little bit of everything. I've worked on a little bit of everything. I've worked in tons of different languages, and I've got a lot of feedback on different things. I've got feedback on what things look nice, what things don't look nice. I've been both informally and formally taught on what makes a good design, how things flow, what a user looks for. They're just the common things. I've got that both from my work experience as well as the fact that I'm currently enrolled in college as a major in computer science, which I will be getting my bachelor's degree rather soon here. So that also contributes towards the whole ideal. Ignoring all that, because most of you probably don't care whatsoever about that, but I always like to give a little bit of credentials up when I start doing videos similar to this. At least I have made a habit of that for more educational and academic videos, which are not on my main channel. I might link a few of those in the future. Anyways, getting into it. So what you're looking on the screen is the two different versions of the Curse site. And this is where the problem starts. And this is not a opinion that's newly formed, even though the Curse site has recently been changed, and the last couple days they've made modifications to the site and have done a variety of things to improve the experience, which I like. They've actually done a good job. Their hard work is appreciated, and I really respect the fact that they're going out of their way to work on things when they really just don't have to. They could have thrown up a really simple site for us, thrown some ads on it, and been like, hey, you guys can fend for yourself. The fact that they go out of their way to make sure we authors are taken care of, making sure users are taken care of, I respect that. They're a great company. They do amazing things, and I appreciate it. But it's been a while, and I've been using their site since 2014, and they've had a lot of problems with the site. They always fix them if you point them out, and they're really good about taking feedback in a decent way. So they do things, but here, the last couple years, they've had two versions of the site. The one on the left you were looking at is the public version, the one on the right is the author version. And the primary site that ends up getting interacted with most of the time is the author version. Whether they know that or not, is that's the version we authors use, that's the version we link to people, that's the version I direct people to download from, as it's much cleaner, much easier interacting. The version on the left is the one that, however, does get more public view according to them. It is the one that they recommend users actually going to and interacting with, the one they recommend getting downloads from, and the main experience they recommend getting from. This is one of the reasons why I started making this video, is I feel that that's just not working out. I understand the concept of having two different sites. They have one for the users, one for the authors. They put all the author stuff on the author side, they put all the user stuff on the user side, and they try to tailor both of them to fit different groups. But even though they say it doesn't take extra work, it does. They have to maintain two sites. This is kind of wasting their time, even though they don't like to admit it. At least that's my opinion on it. I know their opinion that it's not. I understand it. Anyways, let's get into the sites here. Let's just talk about the different features between them, and then we'll nitpick the problems with both. My note, even though I like the author side, it is not immune to problems. It has its own problems. There are things it does wrong. There are things the public version does wrong. There are things the public version does right, and there's things the author version does right. And this is the reason why I'm always confused. They have two different versions, is that they merged the good features out of both of these, and they put them together, and they really focused on one site. I believe the user experience would benefit greatly, and they would end up with a better site and a better overall download and retention rate from users. So let's get to the first one. Now I'm going to full screen this because it's a better way to get a complete picture. As you can look at both these, you can see them side by side, and they're not as different when you put them side by side. When you full screen them and you get a larger view of them, they do actually look much more different. So here we go, we got the public version. This is the one, after all, they recommend that people go to first. This is the one that people will form their first impressions on. This is the one that you will get to if you search Q on Google. At least ideally you'll find this on Google. I think you'll find both versions if you Google it, and because of search engine optimization and everything else. Anyways, we're looking at my wooden shears mod. This is one of my more popular mods. It's got a few, quite a bit of downloads. So we open up this page, we see it. Okay, so we got the content somewhat in the center, not completely aligned with the center. It's a little bit to the left or right. I'm actually going to reload this real quick just so you can see the full thing of it, because if you change the scale, it has a tendency to the ads disappear. That's more likely a bug. So if you come into this and you would full screen this, you come up with a larger view, you're going to get hit with a lot of ads. Ad 1, 2, 3, 4. There's technically 5 ads on here, but there's something wrong with ad 0, which is actually the first ad, programming thing to count from 0. So there's ads on here. I suspect ad 0 was supposed to show up over here, but if you hit inspect sources, it's there but not showing for whatever reason. So a lot of ads. That's already a first negative on the side of this one. Users don't like ads. We run ad blocker. I know if you turn ad blocker on this site, it will not block these ads. That's not a curse thing. That's more likely Google or something else. These are Google ads. Unfortunately, I don't like seeing ads like this ever on a site, because this is confusing for a user. If I pop on here, I'm not accustomed to the internet, I have not been taught properly, I'm going to click that start download button and I'm going to get a virus on my computer. You never want to see these type of ads. I really wish Google themselves would actually trash these kinds of ads, because these are abusive. The other ads are not as bad. These are your conventional standard ads you always see on almost any page. They're annoying, but they're not problematic. It's something I know Curse has to put these on here. They have to make their own money. That's the way they pay us mod developers, is that per view or whatever, we get a certain percentage of the ad cut. They put it in a giant stack and then they distribute it. Right now, I think I'm getting a percentage of a percentage of a percentage. So I'm getting basically nothing because I don't contribute towards the massive download rates. After all, if you go into my list, I think this mod has only got $2 million. So let's keep getting into this. So you go into this, ignoring the ads, it's not too bad. The background picture is a bit confusing. I'm coming in here looking for Minecraft mods, but then I'm seeing World of Warcraft, Skyrim, a couple other games I don't remember the names of. I tried to look them up before I made this video, and I could not figure out what they were called. But you got stuff that's not Minecraft, so I don't see any Minecraft imagery anywhere in here. It feels like I might be in the wrong place. If I was a new user coming in here, I'd go, wait, did I go to the right page? This doesn't look like Minecraft. Especially if you're talking about a little kid. You gotta imagine that the denomination that plays, or the group that plays, and I think I'm using those words wrong. I'm trying to English and it's too early in the morning and I haven't had enough sleep. But the main user base that's going to play Minecraft, you're going to have a lot of kids in here. You're going to have adults. Adults do make up a large percentage of Minecraft things, but you got to remember there's like 100 million copies that have been sold for Minecraft. Even if like a third of those or even less actually came to this site, there's going to be a huge population of kids that come in here. Ads by themselves are bad just for that. But then you come in here and they may be wowed by the background images, like, oh wow, look at this great graphics in the background. But they may be equivalently confused. Although I gotta admit, my own ad right here in the center is definitely not helping with that. I am working on fixing that. There's plans to do custom banners that are half the size. I actually want to cut this size down by quite a bit that do match each custom thing. You come in here and you're like, oh, wait, what am I looking at? Then you don't see anything Minecraft related, but you do see the title here, so you're going to stick around, but you're going to just be a little confused. That's already forming a bad impression right there. I know that's an edge case, by the way, because I know there's probably somebody who's much better at user experience than me that has the solid data that goes, That's not how that works. And they're probably right. I'm basing this off of what I think is going on, and it is a lot of speculation, as I don't have a lot of data to pull from. The only thing I have to pull from is my own experience of what I've felt going into the site. And one of my first impressions dropping on this site was, why is the background not Minecraft related? Why is this not catered to the game we're looking at? And it really should. This to get a nice, good visual feel of it is that each section, because I know Curse is not just Minecraft related. People get that really confused, especially watching my videos. It's like, I thought Curse was just for Minecraft. No, if we go to the home here, and I'll go look at this real quick, they do a lot of games. They do a lot of stuff, and Minecraft does make a huge percentage of their mods, but probably doesn't make a huge percentage of their downloads. I haven't gone through a lot of these other ones. I haven't looked at a huge amount of these. I have played every game on here though. Although my opinion of some of these is less savory than others, but they do a lot of stuff, and they have a lot of mods, and they have a huge community. World of Warcraft, I believe, is where they got their start at it. I don't know their full history, but I do know they do have a huge World of Warcraft fan base. Anyways, we'll close this out. So they got all these. So, but the thing is, if you go into each one of these, now the background matches World of Warcraft. If I come in here and I was a World of Warcraft player, this feels right. This looks like I know that this matches with it. Oh, they kinda. I just saw the character back here. I've actually tried to get a picture of the background. I think I can hit save as. No, I can't even save the background picture and look at it. They got a lot of art. Might I note it's a little wasteful to have this much art behind this stuff because you're hiding a lot of it. If you go to certain other sites, one of the big things that they try to do is they make sure they fill this center section here so that there's no background here, and they just show stuff to the left and show stuff to the right, so that way you're not wasting a lot of art, and you also reduce your file size. Not as big of a problem. That's more of a nitpicking thing. So they got a lot of things, but not a single one of these is catered towards the game. If they can do that, that will improve users' impression. If they can also cut down on the ads. I mean, 1, 2, 3 ads, 4, 5 ads. They got 5 ads on here. I don't even get that going. Like, if I go to YouTube, I only get 2 ads. Given they put ads on their videos themselves, and that's a whole another story by itself. And that's one of those big unfortunate things that we're in the business of making money off ads. My site has the same problem. We put a lot of ads on our site. But yeah, not catered towards the particular game. Doing that would be a huge benefit. Getting back onto this page, so it's got a general layout. We got description, we got changes. Change logs are a bit odd. This is mainly just my side of it. I didn't even realize there was a changelog thing on this side because, after all, I interact with the author side, and the author side doesn't even have this feature. There's not a changelog button that you can click. Understanding this now, I'm probably in the future going to change this, but it would be something that would have been loved to note, that there's 2 different views of how this system works. And my understanding was that each file had a changelog on it, not that there was an actual global changelog. Now, going under that understanding, I'm actually going to probably start posting the full changelog thing, which I probably isn't a great idea in their opinion, is that I kind of would like to edit this separately. I don't really think this should have been something that is auto-populated, because, look, it just auto-populated with my dev server. I have an automated server that uploads files to this all the time. And we sometimes approve those files without changing the changelog, and now look, we have this junky thing that then takes me to links and stuff. That's my bad, not theirs. But one of the really cool things would be to be able to edit this manually and control what this displays manually. And another thing is, because we have 2 different versions of the site, I would like to be able to edit my description separately on this side versus the other side, because this displays differently on both sides. So you see, notice there's a little break bar there at the top. You can barely see it, very faint, that goes across there. That doesn't show up on this side. The text displays differently on each side. So I've catered my text to fit on this one a little better, and it looks differently on each side. These links, by the way, will take you to the mod version and not the curse pages. I would like to cater that. I would like, if I'm on this side over here, to make sure all my links continue going to the author page, while on this side to make all my links go to the mod page. And that is annoying. I'm not even gonna do that. That's just take a moment there. But yeah, there's comments on here as well. There's 2 separate sites for comments right now. So you got comments on this side, you got comments on this side. I really wish these were the same on both sides, having to bounce between these. Keep in mind, I have 42 projects, and each of them now has 2 comment sections. That basically means I'm responsible for 84 comment sections on top of the 200 and something GitHub repositories. It's a lot of work, and I would like to make sure those 2 would match each other. I don't even understand why there's 2 separate comment sections. Not that the comment sections are really user-friendly. Like, this is This is jumbled over here. I mean, look, it's sticking out of the side here. I think they want this to look like this, but I don't know what happened. I assume they'll fix this. This is something I assume they will fix. There's numbers here, but then it's confusing. We get back on this as well. I mean, they have project information on this side, but it's not directly apparent from a user's point of view that this is project information. All I see is owner. So is that the page's owner? Is that the project's owner? Is that the owner of the account? That's misleading. That's also a problem with the other side over here. If we go over here, and I actually scrolled this up, it's also a problem over here. Is that to be honest, it's a thing I've asked for a couple times. At least I know Demon's asked for, is the ability to change these tags, manually create your own tags. I know that would be abused, but it would allow us to optimize this a little bit better to make it easier for the user's brain to recognize what's going on. You have the upload or updated date in 2 different spots. Really should only be in 1 spot. The creation date down here, like this information needs to be chunked a little better. There should be a break line before and after the download counter to say, okay, and these are credits, these are download. There really should be a credit thing above here, or a member list, because if you go over to the author side, you got a member list. It's nice and clean. It's easy to figure out who's there. It's easy to look at that list and see everything that's going on there. Same for the recent files downloads. It's really clean, really elegant, really professional looking. I look at this site and I look, okay, this is a professional site. I look at this one and I'm like, I almost, when they updated this, I almost mistaked Curse for being one of those mod ripoff sites. And for those who don't know what the mod ripoff sites look like, if we just type in Minecraft mods, so you go like right there, first entry, Minecraft mods. This is not an official site for mods. Wow, this actually looks better than the Curse site. I feel bad. I feel bad for coming on here now. Space Age mod. I'm not even familiar with that one, but you go to these like when the sites that are illegit that host mods look better than your site, that's a problem. Yeah, I continue this site. I got mod blocker. But you go to like things like this, and it's continue site. You got sites like this that are starting to look a little better than your own sites, that have less ads than your own sites. You might have made a mistake. That's not me criticizing the Curse team for making a bad decision or anything. I'm talking about the site only. I don't think I pointed this out in this video. I highly respect the Curse team for what they do, all the work they put in here. They put really good work into this, and this is not bad. This is a good looking site. It actually looks nice. It's just, I think it could be better. That's the whole reason for this video. I think there's improvement. I think there's room for addition. One of the things I think that could be changed, particularly on this, is getting rid of this panel right here, merging it into here, adding a project info tab right here that has all the credits information on it, moving the favorite and follow button up here on the top, moving the project page up here on the top. One thing I do like to point out that I do like about this, the download button looks nicer. I like the fact we have the game version up here, and I like this little quick nav button system here. These are really cool. These are nice features that the author version doesn't have. The author version doesn't tell you the latest. I do like to note there is a bug with this. This will pick off the latest file, not the latest version. So Wooden Buckets in particular, one of my other mods, says that the latest version is 1.11, which is misleading because I do have a 1.12 version on there, and it's not picking up the latest. So this would be kind of nice if this actually went through all the file versions and picked the latest number, because we do multiple releases for these mods. So if there's a bug in the 1.10 version, we're going to release another 1.10 version. I think what would happen if I ever did release another 1.10 version for Wooden Shears, this number would change to 1.10, which would just ruin the list. Speaking of list, here's your download list for your stuff. This is not as clean. I mean, we got the gigabyte down here, which should be up here. The dates are weird. Then all this stuff, like this whole display needs work. I see you can sort stuff like this. By note, I'm partially colorblind on top of this on my left eye. I can barely see these. I'm betting anything other users can barely see this, but I had to point out that color part because every time I complain about something and then somebody learns that I have that deficiency, they're like, oh, that's just because you have that deficiency, you can't see that. But no, it actually is a legitimate problem. I can barely see these. These need to be darker. This text size need to be bigger. I believe a line should be drawn down through this so that way you can separate these out. This probably whole page should just scale up a little bit more. I mean, if they have to shorten the file names, go for it. I don't know if upload date's even important on here. Downloads are kind of nice. This is where these buttons could probably be moved over a bit more to save space. There's a few different problems like this, and these are just kind of, this is where I got upset when I looked at this originally, and I got even more ticked when a few people told me that I shouldn't be complaining about this. Is like, this site generates revenue for me. If this site looks like shit, I don't generate as much revenue. Therefore, everything that Curse does directly reflects on me. I know I shouldn't be saying that, but especially since it's one of those kind of ideals that I'm biting the hand that feeds me type of thing. But I need this site to look nice. That way, when somebody comes in and they're looking at my mods, they don't get a negative impression. They get a really good impression of what this looks like and everything. So you got problems with that. You got problems with the changelog. One big thing is we got different tabs. So we got description changes in early versions. You go over to the author version, overview files, issues, source, and relations. A big thing, by the way, is that if this site's meant for authors, which means a user should never be on the site according to Curse. Why is the issue over here? Why? There's also a wiki tab. If you go to some other mods, there's a wiki tab that shows up between issues and source. Why is the issue in wiki only on this side and not on this side? Like, if a person's having a problem with my mod, how do they know how to get a hold of me? How do they know how to report problems to me? If there's not a button up here, report problem, like there really should be a button, report bug, like right up here somewhere. There should be another button for wiki should be up here somewhere. Those two should have been on here at all times. I don't know if the old version had that. I don't know how to get access to the old version that was prior to this one. I probably could use the Wayback Machine to maybe get a hold of it, but it's not worth my time to do that. Another thing is that both sites are kind of bad about this, is that it's hard to figure out what dependencies exist. So in here, the way that they recommend on this page is that you click into a file and you see dependencies down here. Now, of course, I'm not in a mod that has dependencies, but down at the bottom here, actually, let's go find one of my other mods here. Of course, I have to be logged in for this one. So let's type in Armory. Of course, we're going to get, oh no, actually my stuff is starting to sort to the top. I like that. So if we click ICBM Sentries, for example, and we would click a file, and we would click another file, down at the bottom, I will see the dependencies. That's really nice. That's really cool from a user point of view. Unfortunately, if I was a user and I came to this page, I'm not going to scroll down that far. No, I'm not doing that. That's, as a user, I'm going to, like, you have to assume like a user's lazy and he's not going to do things. To be honest, required libraries should always show up at the top. That way I immediately know. Actually, on that same subject, at some point in this, and by the way, this is why I like the author site better. Look at this file list. Look at this file list. This is a mess. This is clean. Mess, clean, mess, clean. Easy on the eyes, easy to navigate. I don't know what's even going on here half the time. Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? I can take a estimate. I can take a guess because I'm experienced with the site. But if I was a new user coming in here that had very little knowledge, especially if I was a young kid, like imagine like a 12-year-old kid coming here downloading mods, he would maybe not even glance this. Like his eyes would immediately jump to the colorful objects. Oh, I was like, oh, what's that? Wait, what is that number? Oh, it has to do with megabytes. Oh, there's a date here. Oh, there's another number. Oh, there's another number. And eventually, I mean, he would relate, this is downloads, these are game versions. I mean, eventually that information would come into, the more you use the site, the more familiar you would get with it. But this is disorganized. This is a little bit more organized. It's a little easier to see everything. Like I can see the up-down button, like I was saying. I can barely see these. I can see these real easily. I can see everything really easy on here. I like the color coding. It's really nice. Alpha, beta. I don't know why these are yellow. I don't know what the release looks on here. I'm going to assume it might be green. I've never made a release on here. Actually, I might just mark one of these for release just so I can test it, but it might take too long to release. I know it's green over here, I think, is what it is. It's all good and everything. Like a nice download button here. To be honest, when it comes to this site, that download button, it works where it's at, but not the most noticeable thing. And the files and everything. Images. This has images as well. Actually, you know what? Images aren't showing up on here. Or this. Oh, that's right. I don't probably have any for wood shares. Got some images. Images would show up on here as well. They really need the issue button over there. Getting back to this though. So as I said, there's issues with both sites. This doesn't have that mod version up here, so you know it says I got the mod version up here. That actually would be useful to put up here. Saying this is a mod right there, that's not as useful. This would be really cool to put up here as well. That's actually nice. I don't like the way it looks particularly, but I like the way it navigates. There's a thing with the spacing on here. The spacing is a little bit better here, but like if I come in and I did this, the spacing gap between these starts to mess up really bad. That's a scaling issue. I know from experience scaling issues are really challenging to fix. I have tons of them with my sites. Every site I've ever made in my life has had scaling issues. I recently built a drum machine for a class project that has tons of scaling issues, although I blame Bootstrap for that more than anything else. Yeah, so what else we can nitpick about this. Problems with color on the overview. We don't have the same thing here. Let me go ahead and open up the page. By the way, both these sites have buttons to get back and forth between each other. So, I mean, in some regard, you can click this right here, but because it's on the right side, and if I scale my page down a little bit, I don't see it there, so I'm losing access to those buttons when I scale down. This is why I believe these buttons should be up here on the top bar. All this should be up there on the top bar. Let's go ahead and put this here so we can look at the same page twice. So there is a color scaling problem with this, so I don't get the red text like I get over... We can pop back over here. So there's red text there. The formatting on the text looks differently. This is a much deeper dark color. This is not as different. So you get a much different color ratio between this. This is not as bolded. Actually, I suspect that bold is not even working properly because this is much bigger text size. That's about roughly the same size characters. It's hard to tell because I think the font size is different between these, but I don't have a way to tell that. And my eyes are not that good when it comes to this. Lists don't display at all on here. This is one of the things I'm really confused about too when they talk about this, that they rolled out this new site to replace the old one, is that I feel like they prematurely rolled it out. I know they needed to get rid of the old site and they needed to get things going and getting it moving, but there are a lot of problems with this, and these are not the kind of problems that should have slipped through easily. I mean, you'll come over here and you can just, I mean, you could have made a test page. In the test page, put every single different thing that could have been appeared on the page. Put like a video in there, put the breaks, put the bulletin list, put like a little bit of everything that you would normally see on pages, and then test it real quick. And if it doesn't look right, go back in and fix your CSS. That's what I do when I develop formats and templates for clients and stuff for my job, is that I will build a page like that just to test all the formatting, test all my CSS, test all that stuff. I suspect they might have one. Maybe they just rolled it out because they were in a rush to get things fixed, because maybe the old site broke down and they just didn't want to fix it, or I don't know what's going on. Hopefully they'll tell us one of these days. But you see that problem with it. Tons of ads. All the ads. Oddly enough, there's no ads on this page. There used to be, I believe, at some point, and this is where I think they could put ads on this as well, and I think they actually should at least put 1 or 2 ads on here, because I do direct a lot of people to this page, and if they're not getting ad revenue off there, I'm not getting ad revenue off there. Given I have my own ads in the middle of the page, but that's a different thing, and they've given me a little heat for that, but they inevitably let me have them. What else do we get that's the difference between these? Oh yeah, I don't think I've pointed out the mod pages. Now there isn't as huge of a difference between these two, and I know the video length is already getting pretty long. I didn't script this, I probably should have, and it would have been half the length. Now there's not a huge one. There is some noticeable problems. This is chunked differently. You got the spacing between them. This has got break lines. I do admit, after like making these videos, this is like the 20 something at the 10th I've tried this, that this surprisingly is just slightly easier to jump between the different mods compared to this one. Although that could be fixed by taking this little spacer between these and just making it a darker color or something. There's ways to improve that. You can more easily access the mod list over here. This does exist on this page, but for some reason when you scale it, it just goes away. I'm surprised not to see a whole bunch of ads on this page. Let me reload again. Oh, there they are. We are not lost without ads. So there's a lot of ads on this. This is a little different to navigate. All the same options are still here, so that's pretty good. You can navigate between all the different sections. You can filter. I almost thought when I was originally doing this that was different. I do like the way this looks better, although I do have to admit the ability to collapse these sections is kind of nice. Both display about the same information. All that looks nice. I do have to say, I still do like the author side a little better because it's a little easier on the eyes when it comes to certain information, but it's not different by a huge amount. You got an update thing, like I don't think the update time really matters or the creation date really matters on this page. They can save a little bit of text space. It would be nice to see the mod authors in here. There are people that actually do look for mod author tags. Like if I see certain mod authors in here, I'm going to more likely download their mods because I know that they're really good at what they do. Aimdayu is a really good developer. TechBrew is a really good developer. Like if I see King Lemming in here, I know he's a good developer. Like Pam makes great mods and stuff. So if you see those names, those actually matter to some extent. You come over here, I don't see the names over here. We do still have the category tags over here. I do like the way they display on this side. Like if I actually increase this, that nice black background with the white text on it, that's real easy on the eyes. This one is not as easy to see. You can still see it because it has a shadow behind it, so they probably put that shadow there to fix that, or that just comes by default with whatever CSS system they're using. So you can navigate those. You do have a download button here. I do admit the download button is nice because I can click download. It does take me to a download page. I do not like their download page. And the reason for this is that if that ad ever loads right there, let's reload this a couple times to the ad show up. So you have an ad right here. I've had on several occasions that there was a nice big download button here, a nice big download button up here on their page, and it was confusing. You also have a problem with this down here. Let me discard these real quick. That this takes you to the actual Twitch client. So if I wasn't paying attention, like I was a little drowsy or tired and I came in here and I clicked this, I would think that's the download now button for the file I'm trying to download, not for something else. This really needs to be renamed to download client, and that will improve usability there. This needs to be made more obvious right there because it's the actual way you click to download. Another thing that I was really concerned about when I was originally making these is you click this install button. This downloads a file for you. Might note, I don't know how to use the file. It's very unclear how to use this file, but it downloads a CCIP file. I thought I downloaded a virus when I first clicked this because I don't recognize the file format. I don't know what it's used for, and it downloaded. And if you look at this page, and if you saw the download buttons over here and up here, that's when originally I saw it and I was like, whoa, what did I just download? Because I was not expecting this. What I was expecting this button to do, from my point of view, is if I click this, I was expecting the Twitch launcher to open up over here and download a mod. Might I note, if I actually go in here and I click this, I have been unable to get this file to work. So I suspect what I have to do is open up one of these files. And if I can go down and find that file again, let's click install again and download it again, just so I don't have to navigate for it. The delay on download, by the way, is also annoying from a user point of view, but I understand why it's there. You want people to see the ads. That's understandable. So I don't know what this did. I have no user feedback. So no user feedback told me there should be a pop-up on this by itself, but we're not here to complain about the Twitch launcher. That's another thing. And let me make sure that's not actually in there, because this is the dev version of all the mod packs I make. So nipping on that, as I said though, I do like the ability to be able to pop back really quickly between the tabs. That is nice. That is actually a feature I would like to see on the author version. The ads though, there are so many ads here. The background, I mean, I think at this point I'm just done nitpicking. There is a lot more things I can point out. There's a lot more things to criticize. I can be really heavy and nasty about the criticism. I'm trying to keep this as constructive as possible, so if somebody from the Curse team is watching this, don't take personal offense to this. I'm giving you my opinion because I believe it will help, and even if it's the smallest amount of way, it'll contribute towards the feedback. You don't have to apply these changes I suggested. These are entirely optional. I just feel like if I point them out that it will help in some regard, and I don't feel like doing what I normally do and just sitting on my rock ignoring the world. But yeah, ads probably need to work on this, and I've seen a lot of people complain about that. Anyways, that's been it from me. So I'll see you guys later, and if you agree or disagree with my suggestions or you have more suggestions, just talk in the comments. I'm pretty sure the Curse team will love to see some feedback. I would love to see your feedback as well and everything else.